Death! Hello, welcome to my video. My name is Ivory, and today I will be telling you about the story of the four horsemen of the apocalypse and about the biblical apocalypse in general. And I really hope you're willing to not have any sleep tonight, because I bet this story will keep you up for days. Well, because it's about the end of the world. Anyways, enough chit-chattering, let's move on to the video.
So, who exactly are the four horsemen of the apocalypse? The four horsemen of the apocalypse are Christian apocalyptic figures that appear in the Book of Revelations of the Christian Bible. The four horsemen are said to be harbingers of the end times, who are tasked with wiping humanity off the face of the earth. Now, the Book of Revelations is the final book of the New Testament and of the entire Christian Bible. The Book of Revelations talks about the apocalypse from the perspective of the author John, where he receives the revelation of Jesus Christ through prophetic visions, and is instructed to write down all that he sees and hears as a message to the 7 churches of Asia. And before you ask, yes, the churches are located in Asia, but not the Asia we think. They're located in Asia Minor, also known as modern-day Turkey. And Turkey as in the country, not the food that we eat during Christmas. Okay, anyways, back to the story. So after John writes out the messages for the 7 churches, he proceeds to recount visions of the apocalypse. He sees the throne of God, surrounded by 24 thrones with 24 elders sitting on them, as well as 4 living creatures, which have been identified as cherubim, the second highest ranking of angels. Then, a scroll is presented to the Lamb of God, covered in 7 symbolic seals. Each of these seals, when opened, releases a judgment or causes an apocalyptic event to occur. It was then declared that only the Lion of Judah, also known as the Lamb of God, was the only one who would be worthy of opening the scroll in the future. And so the Lamb begins opening the seals as we meet our main stars, the 4 horsemen. Oh, and before you get confused, horsemen refers to men riding horses. Yeah, it's as obvious as it sounds. Alright, let's not get sidetracked here. And so the Lamb opens the first seal, which releases the first of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. The first horseman is described as a white horse, whose rider is carrying a bow and given a crown. Many scholars have debated on who exactly the rider of the white horse is, with many agreeing that it may even be Jesus Christ himself. The white horseman is widely known as Conquest, who would invoke the pestilence or the plague, which would then be used to wipe out humanity. And then the Lamb opens the second seal, which releases the second horseman. Of course, the second horseman is known to represent war, and it's supported by the description of a red horse whose rider is holding a sword pointed upwards as if ready for battle. The color red, which matches the color of blood, suggests that much blood is to be spilled, with the horseman killing off humanity with his sword. And then the third seal is opened, which releases the third horseman. The third horseman is said to be Famine, as he is seated upon a black horse holding a pair of weighing scales in his hands. A voice is also heard saying 1 quart of wheat for a denarius and 3 quarts of barley for a denarius, but do not damage the oil in the wine. So a denarius in this sense is a day's wages, which means that the price of grain was about 10 times more expensive and would barely be enough to feed a single person, thus meaning that humanity would most probably starve to death due to the famine. Last but not least, the 4th seal reveals the 4th and final horseman, who is named as Death, as you can see through my very accurate portrayal. Death is seated upon a pale or ashen horse, and though he isn't noted to be holding anything in particular, he is said to have Hades following behind him. And Hades, unlike the god of the dead in Greek mythology, is understood to be hell, also known as the place or state of departed spirits in Christianity. And now Death possesses the ability to use wild beasts to wipe off humanity. Then, the Lamb of God proceeds to open the rest of the seals, which triggers really major apocalyptic events, like a great earthquake, stars falling, and the sky receding like a scroll, with mountains and islands being moved out of place. After which, 7 angels with trumpets start to devastate the earth, like completely destroy it to oblivion. There's hail with fire, a mountain on fire falling into the ocean, killing all sea creatures, a plague of locusts, complete darkness, and 200 million horsemen who kill off a third of humanity. The 200 million horsemen, of course, are led by the four horsemen themselves. And this is when 7 spiritual figures appear. Among them are the unholy beasts, the dragon, and a false prophet who blaspheme against God and force people to bear the mark of the beast, which is 666, and participate in blaspheming and turning against God. And then God, who eventually has had enough of humanity's nonsense, pours out these 7 bowls upon the earth, which causes the followers of the beast to be punished as a final battle ensues at Armageddon between the forces of good and evil. At this point, the earth is completely destroyed. The beast and the false prophet are cast into the lake of fire. The dragon is imprisoned, but is released after 1,000 years and starts making war with the people of God, but then loses and gets cast into the lake of fire as well. Finally, the last judgment occurs, where the wicked, along with death and Hades, are cast into the lake of fire. A new heaven and new earth replace the old heaven and old earth, and there is no more suffering or death, as God comes to dwell with humanity in the New Jerusalem. And with that, the curse of sin is ended.
Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching my video today. I hope you guys learned a lot about the 4 horsemen and about the biblical and of the world in general. So yeah, that's the video. Okay. Death here, signing out.